We didn't blink, even during times when it got thick. You know, we continued to punt the ball and support our defense, who was playing well. They continued to deliver until we caught fire and finished some drives. And don't get me wrong, it wasn't lack of moving the ball, man. We just didn't finish drives. You know, we missed a couple field goals. We threw an interception. Um, you know, we just got to be better in those areas, and we'll keep working. But as a collective, particularly some of these young offensive, they didn't allow that to rule them. They maintained the clarity of thought and the cohesion required to make those big plays in the waning moments. And I can't say enough about 8 and 14 and 22 and 88 and 18, all of them. They showed poise and resolve and made the necessary plays. And so we move forward. We move forward with a really good Christmas. Few injuries, 21. Trey Norwood has got a hamstring. Marcus Allen's got a bicep that's being evaluated. I think the rest is bumps and bruises associated with play. Questions?
Mike, the way the game ended, it wasn't a deflected pass, but you get that last second touchdown. Is that symbolic of 50 years ago? And just
I'm not going to try to put it in that neighborhood, not even into that city. Okay. But it was a nice play.
Given the whirlwind of the week, though, all the emotions, I mean, is it one of the more moving wins you can recall?
You know, we're professionals. Football's our game. Our business is winning. We're going to be in emotionally charged environments from time to time, ceremonially or just wait of the game. I just think that's just part of professional football. We got to find ways to compartmentalize that and do what's required, which is play winning football. And make no mistake about it, it was a significant game, but it's probably just a significant game because so many of our guys are young and they stood up tonight, and it's a growth outing probably more than anything.
With the frigid temperatures, obviously, what can you say about the crowd that was in attendance and how they supported you guys throughout the night?
Man, we don't take our support and our crowd for granted. I tell you what, though, boy, I don't know that any of us even noticed the temperature tonight. It was just one of those games. You never really notice it unless you're winning definitively or you're getting smashed. And so it was a close game, man. I kind of forgot about the weather.
Mike, you mentioned it, but could you elaborate on the way your defense made plays? It seemed like every drive in the second half, whether it was a sack or an interception.
Hey, let's be honest. We've been pretty clear that, if we were going to do something in this season, that they had to play like that. They're the more senior group. They got the more established players and so forth. And so, not that we don't appreciate it, but it's expected. I think they expect it. That was our agenda. We talked about it all week that it was those two guys, and I talked about our experience of having two significant guys, and we kind of understand how to manage that dynamic runner, dynamic receiver. And I just think that we did a good job of balancing the schematics of it, and when we didn't balance the schematics of it, the guys made the plays and understood when they were in the kitchen and they had to stand up.
You talked about your skill position players. What about the growth of your line throughout the season?
They've been consistent in terms of getting better, and I think what we've done as a collective in terms of staying on schedule and establishing a run and so forth has been an indication of that. Although I will say that, boy, the Raiders did an awesome job tonight, largely versus our run game, man. We didn't control it the way we desired to. But sometimes you're going to be in games like that. It was rough and tumble.
You mentioned growth on offense. What sort of comfortability do you think that Najee and Pat Freiermuth provided Kenny tonight?
I think all the guys made plays. They made the plays when called upon. I think, the end of the game is kind of reflective of that. Muth made a big play. Nas made a big play jumping somebody. GP made a play in the end zone. We just got a bunch of young guys that's got some talent. They're getting better. They're good enough to win as that happens. And we just better keep rolling our sleeves up, keep our head down, our mouths shut, and working. That's this game. We got a battle waiting on us.
Coach, you had mentioned poise. What's your thoughts on Pickett's poise on that final drive?
I don't think any of us are surprised with those intangible things that Kenny shows us. I think that the proximity that we had to his college experience kind of makes us extremely comfortable about our knowledge of those things. And I expect to see it. I think we all expect to see it.
The Franco jerseys, when and how did that idea for that gesture kind of originate?
A Penn State man, Pat Fryermuth. I'm sitting on the back patio with him on Wednesday. We're getting ready to go to practice, and it was his suggestion, and we are Penn State.
Mike, was the same with the flag, did you know, and could you describe that feeling when Cam ran out with the 32 flag?
It was a lot of things that happened tonight that were heavy. We knew it. We just wanted to be a part of it. Some nights you get an opportunity to kind of etch your small place and steal a lower, and I'm so happy that our young guys had an opportunity to do that. And some nights you get an opportunity to kind of etch your small place and steal a lower, and I'm so happy that our young guys had an opportunity to do that in some small way tonight.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks.
We will have Kenny and Cam coming up.
Good afternoon, everyone, and happy holidays. Bob Pompiani here, soon to be joined by Missy Matthews. We're at the UPMC Rooney Sports Complex getting ready for a Tomlin Tuesday. Mike Tomlin press conference as the Steelers coming off an impressive win at Carolina. They sweep the NFC South 24-16 by using a run game that was very effective and a defense that shut down a Carolina run game. Lots of interesting stuff in that game to talk about, and then the Steelers get ready for the Raiders on Christmas Eve. By the way, you'll see that game on KDKA TV. We have it for you. A night game in what should be a very chilly environment over at Acrisure Stadium, but a very exciting one given the fact that it's the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception. And the Raiders come in off a big win and an unexpected result. When you saw what happened at the end of that play, it was rather interesting. The Chandler Jones got a chance to return a fumble officially, but picked off a pass, ran over Mac Jones and went into the end zone. 30-24 at the end of regulation. What a game that was. Both teams come into this one 6 wins, 8 losses. The Steelers looking to make it 7-8, and the Raiders, of course, are in position where they've lost a lot of tough games, tight games. They've also won some of those games, and they got a very talented offensive lineup that the Steelers must contend with. Mike Tomlin is ready to go. Let's go across the way and hear from the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Good afternoon. As always, I'll start with a brief synopsis of our last performance. As I mentioned after the game, I just thought it was good to win an attrition game, a game that we identified even prior to going into the stadium what type of game it was going to be, to deliver under those circumstances, to play behind our big people on offense and defense, to win the line of scrimmage. That team had a pretty consistent business model over the last several weeks, and in terms of controlling the pace of games, the line of scrimmage, possession of the football. And I just thought on the offensive line, we did a really good job in that area in the run game, winning the line of scrimmage. I think it's most reflected by the manageable third down scenarios that we were in and the number of them, 3rd and 1, 3rd and 2, and things of that nature. When you convert whatever, 75% of your third downs are very manageable, and that speaks to line of scrimmage play and staying on schedule, and the big guys are to be credited for that. And then on the defensive side of the ball, bouncing back from a negative performance regarding the run and stopping a group that had shown a unique commitment in recent weeks in that area was significant on that side of the ball. They had been through a lot of change at the quarterback position, change at some of their significant eligibles, Christian McCaffrey and Anderson guys not being there. The one consistency that they had was in the offensive line, and they had played to it. And I just thought our defensive line did a really nice job. I thought guys like Larry Ogunjobi played really well against the run. Some of the other guys get recognized because their sack production and things of that nature. I just thought he was a real force inside and did a nice job in those areas. It's important, obviously, because we're about to go into a game that features a runner in Jacobs, man. That's the best this year and got 1,500 yards, and they play behind the wave that he provides, and the consistency in which he plays and they play in the run game is going to be a big-time challenge for us, and particularly anticipating the weather circumstances. And I just think that's a beautiful part of December and January football, the weather component. And we'll acknowledge that the weather could be significant on Saturday night and could play out in terms of how these two teams come together. But that's life in the National Football League, and that's specifically life in Pittsburgh. And so we won't run from that. We'll run to that as we prepare this week. Looking at the Vegas Raiders further,